The clock read 2:17 a.m. The room was dim, lit only by the glow of a phone screen. Tunde lay on his back, eyes fixed on the endless stream of videos, his thumb moving in a slow, automatic rhythm. Scroll, pause, scroll again. Across the room, his laptop sat open on the desk. A blank document stared back at him. The cursor blinked. Waiting. His deadline was in 6 hours. And he hadn't started. Just one more video, Tunde whispered to himself. But even as he said it, something tightened in his chest. A quiet discomfort he couldn't ignore. Because this wasn't new. This was a pattern. Earlier that evening, everything had felt different. At exactly 7 p.m., Tunde had walked into his room with determination. He dropped his bag, pulled out his chair, and opened his laptop. "This time, I'll do it early," he said out loud. For a moment, he believed it. He opened the document, stared at the title, and froze. The task wasn't difficult. He had done similar assignments before. There was nothing unfamiliar about it. Yet his fingers refused to move. The silence in the room grew heavier. What if it's not good enough, he thought. He shifted in his seat, adjusting his posture as if that might shake the thought away. But it didn't. What if you tried, and still failed? He exhaled sharply and closed the laptop halfway. "I'll just take a short break," he said. The break started innocently. A quick snack. A few songs. A glance at his phone. But minutes stretched into hours. And somewhere along the way, he stopped thinking about the assignment altogether. Back in the present, at 2:17 a.m., the weight of it all came crashing down. Tunde sat up abruptly, staring at the laptop across the room. "Why do I always do this?" he muttered. The question hung in the air. Unanswered. What Tunde didn't realize was that his problem had never been laziness. It was something deeper. Something quieter. When he first sat down to work, he hadn't just seen a task. He had seen pressure. Expectation. The possibility of failure. And his mind reacted the only way it knew how. It tried to protect him. "Let's not do this right now," a voice inside him had whispered earlier. "Let's feel better first." So he listened. He chose comfort. In that moment, the phone, the music, the snacks, they weren't distractions. They were relief. A temporary escape from the discomfort he didn't want to face. But now, hours later, that relief had turned into something else. Guilt. Pressure. Panic. Tunde stood up slowly and walked to his desk. He pulled out the chair and sat down. The cursor blinked again. Still waiting. He placed his fingers on the keyboard. And froze. The same feeling returned. That invisible weight. That quiet resistance. "What if I can't do this?" he whispered. For a moment, nothing moved. Then something shifted. Instead of pushing the feeling away, Tunde leaned into it. He paid attention. It wasn't just fear of the task. It was fear of what the task meant. "If I fail this, what does that say about me?" he thought. The realization hit him harder than he expected. He wasn't avoiding the work. He was avoiding the possibility of proving himself inadequate. And starting meant facing that possibility. So his mind had done its job. It had protected him. By keeping him away. But now, sitting there in the quiet of the night, Tunde saw the truth. Avoiding it hadn't protected him at all. It had trapped him. "If you don't start, you've already failed," he said softly. The words lingered. Something about them felt different. Final. He leaned back in his chair and took a deep breath. "What if I don't try to finish it?" he said. "What if I just start? No expectations. No pressure. No need for perfection. Just one sentence. He turned back to the screen and began typing. The sentence was awkward. Incomplete. Far from impressive. Tunde stared at it for a second. Then he let out a small laugh. "That's terrible," he said. But something unexpected happened. The heaviness in his chest eased. Just a little. He typed another sentence. Then another. Slowly, almost without noticing, he began to move. The fear didn't disappear. But it changed. It no longer stopped him. Minutes passed. Then an hour. The blinking cursor was no longer waiting. It was following. By 4:03 a.m., the room felt different. Not lighter. But alive. Tunde leaned forward, focused. Working. The assignment wasn't perfect. But it was real. For the first time that night, he wasn't running. As the first light of morning slipped through the curtains, Tunde leaned back in his chair. Exhaustion settled into his bones. But so did something else. Clarity. He looked at the screen. Then at his hands. All this time, he said quietly, it was never about time. It was about fear. And fear, he realized, doesn't fade when you wait. It grows. But when you move toward it, even imperfectly, it loses its power. Tunde closed his laptop gently. This time, there was no guilt. He picked up his phone. Paused. Then placed it back down. A small smile crossed his face. Because now he understood something he hadn't before. He didn't procrastinate because he was lazy. He procrastinated because he was trying to escape discomfort. And the moment he stopped running from it was the moment he finally moved forward. In the end, Tunde learned a simple truth. You don't overcome procrastination by waiting to feel ready. You overcome it by starting, even when you're not. Because the real obstacle was never the work itself. It was the fear of beginning.